Alright, hello and welcome. So, today I'm going to be explaining what shield gating is and kind of what I'm hoping to see in Warframe for shield gating when we get it. As we will be getting it pretty soon, and a lot of people still don't know what it is. So, basically it prevents situations like this. Those situations really suck, as it turns out, because instantly dying and especially being blindsided with instant death really is pretty unfortunate and sucks a whole lot. Shield gates aim to fix that problem, especially on squishy warframes. So, with that, there are a couple different kinds of shield gates. We have a hit gate, which can absorb any one hit. This is kind of the most common thought, I would think, whenever someone is talking about shield gating, in that say you're a Banshee, for example, and you have 300 shields, and then you have your 300 health below that at base. With that, you would take, say, 500 damage, and none of that damage would bleed into your health. You would take that 500 damage, it would break your shields, but it would eat that extra 200 on the shield gate, and you would still have your health left over. That is what a hit gate is, and it basically prevents you from being one-shot killed, which is very, very nice. Then we have limited gates, which can absorb a limited amount of damage from one hit. Basically what that does is it makes it so enemies can still have attacks that can instantly evaporate you. In Warframe, I don't think that would work super well, but that is a type of shield gate that does exist. And then we have our timed gates. Timed gates are the preferred one that I would like to see in Warframe, where your shield breaks and then you are invulnerable for a set amount of time. In this case, I would like to see that set at 1 second, although I think a half a second is also reasonable. And that allows you to survive very high damage kind of in general for a minimum amount of time. So say you get hit with a bombard rocket. You have 1 second to react to that before you're vulnerable again. Say a Corpus Tech comes around the corner and opens up on you. You have minimum 1 second to react to that before you're definitely vulnerable to death. That stuff would help a whole lot, I think, with giving you some reaction time and making it feel a lot better to fight certain enemies, namely Juggernauts, Corpus Techs, and very high-level Bombards. So, with that, there are a couple other special parameters to kind of both help balance it out and make it so players think it's worth investing in more shields beyond just your base level. So, we have our two special parameters, which is gate restoration on full charge. Basically, what this is generally implemented as is that whenever you get your gate broken, you don't get the gate back until you are back at full shields once again. So in Banshee's case, you take the 500 damage, your gate breaks, and then it's like, oh shit, but you get your shields back. You don't have the gate while your shields are recharging. Only once you've gotten back to 300 do you once again have your shield gate and can take any one hit or get your 1 second of invulnerability. That prevents low-level shield regeneration. Like say you have 5 shield regen per second or whatnot, constantly all the time from some effect. That would make it so that that is not making you just completely unkillable. And you are still able to die even when you are regenerating shields because you haven't gotten your gate back yet. That would kind of balance out certain things. Like a lot of the arcanes that can restore shields and stuff. Actually, only one of the arcanes that can restore shields, but the one that is generally considered better. And all that kind of thing. It would basically make it so you can't just god mode your way through things by having shield regeneration. Then we have our multiple gates per shield value. This incentivizes players actually building up more shields. So, basically, whenever you get, say you're Banshee and you have your base 300 shields, you have one gate base, and then if you bump up your shields to, say, above 500, you would then have a second gate at 500 shields, where you have another, say, 1 second of invulnerability, so you would have 2 gates, 1 second each, so a minimum 2 second kill time on you, even if you're taking massive constant damage, which could be incentive for you to get more shields, which I think would be a very smart plan, because otherwise we're going to see mods like redirection and stuff be even less used, I would think. But I think that would be pretty smart to do as well. So with that, let's kind of roll this all up into what I would like to see for shield gating in Warframe. In that, we have that right here. So, one gate base for any shielded Warframe. Obviously, Inaros and Nidus would be excluded from this because they don't have shields, so they wouldn't get a shield gate, kinda obviously. Beyond that, I would like to see 1 second of vulnerability gates, as I said before, although half second I think is also totally reasonable. And then I would like to see a 1 extra gate every 700 shields. Not counting over shields, because then you get into a scenario where I think there would be far too many shield gates. But for 700 total shields, you would have it to where most Warframes using redirection could get a second gate if they wanted it, and that would make it more appealing to use redirection in a build. And some Warframes with a heavy investment into increasing their shields with like Primed Vigor and Redirection together could get a second gate beyond that for a total of 3 shield gates. I think that would be pretty fair, and that would be just good in general, and shields would become more important. Beyond that, having it with a restriction so that if you charge to your base shield level, so in the case of Banshee, as we've been saying, 300 shields base at max rank, going from 0 to 300 would restore your first shield gate, and if you had a second shield gate at 700, getting back to what Banshee's max shields is with redirection, which is 740, would give you your second gate back. With a Volt who's over 400 or 1400 shields, you'd have to go from 0 to your base to get your first gate back, and then back up to your maximum to get your other 2 gates, just to kind of balance out the difference between having 3 gates and 2 gates with redirection and all that business. I think that would be pretty fair. Now, the one thing beyond that I would like to see that it's not really a thing you can change with shield gates themselves, I think, but with adding a new mod could really patch it up. The unintended side effect of possibly nerfing Oberon and nerfing Wukong, specifically Wukong in this case, with shield gates, in that they wouldn't have as fast an access to Rage. So with that, if they introduced a corrupted mod that traded all of your shields for some amount of health and or armor, you could make it so that Wukong can still like consistently use his 2, and Oberon can still consistently use Rage as they stand right now. I think that also with shield gates, giving any Warframe the opportunity to trade all of their shields for some more health or armor, I think would be totally fair. In that, shield gates would be a pretty, that'd be a thing that you would definitely want. So giving the opportunity to instead choose to not have that, but have more just normal general tankiness with armor and health, I think would be pretty fair. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on shield gating, and that's what shield gating is. For anyone that is not clear on it, it's basically making it so that you don't just get completely annihilated in one hit, or in like an incredibly tiny short amount of time. I hope we see it soon, and I hope it kind of incentivizes people to maybe go with some different builds that we don't see a lot right now, like a Capacitance Volt, for example, and to use mods that they might normally not be using, like Redirection. And maybe Vigor would even see some more use for certain Warframes. I think that would be kind of a cool thing to kind of mix up some of the builds that we see, and give a closer balance between squishy Warframes, like, say, Banshee and Nova, and some more higher-end tanking Warframes like Rhino and Inaros, who are nigh invincible, bringing up the weaker Warframes to be a little bit closer to that. I don't think would be too crazy. But yeah, that is what shield gating is. I hope I explained it well enough for you all. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.